Hello and welcome to Your City. I'm Lynne Turner Fitzgerald. Victoria Hill, a familiar face to most of you, is joining us. And Victoria, I want to thank you for being here. I know you're busy.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Even before we did the interview today, she had a couple of other events that kind of got in the way. So it must be just another day in the life of Victoria Hill.
Yeah, and it keeps me on my feet. That's what I love about the job.
Right.
A lot of similarities to what I was doing before.
Right.
It is a little weird being on this side of the questions, but
I'm sure.
Happy to be here.
Good.
But keeps me on my feet, always meeting new people, always learning new things and sharing a message. So I think that's what's in my blood. So I'm glad to keep
it must
it going.
be. Well,
Yeah.
now let's go back to your
Okay.
previous life in television.
Yeah.
So you never really walk away from it, do you?
No, you don't.
Yeah.
And it's interesting and surprising to see how many other opportunities stem from a job in journalism and television. You don't realize how much you're learning and how many connections you're making. And that's basically what I was able to do. And that's why I'm transitioned over now to public information officer.
I was surprised when you said it's almost 2 years in this position.
Yeah. It's gone so fast.
That went fast.
It did, yeah. Very end of February, beginning of March will be my whole 2-year anniversary with the city as public information officer, and it's been a blast. I mean, it's learning as you go. It's really evolving. I think the community's changing, and so that reflects back on my job, on how I have to do things.
What do you mean? Can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. So when I got into the role, I felt my job was to kind of like a reporter. You observe and you share. And now we're going to have to take into consideration some of the events that are going on in our community. Unfortunately, bad stuff, but taking that and getting the community involved too in that communication and responding to what they want to see, and that's always what the city does, but now we are going to we kind of have a solution we have to come up with. So I guess bringing it to that next level to tackle communication in that way.
Well, and I think as time has gone on, there has been less and less local news being covered in this community.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have observed that. And so you're actually bringing a lot of that element back to consumers.
Yeah. And it all starts with the press release, and we from there distribute it out. Whether or not the media wants to take it and run with it, that's totally up to them.
Sure.
But that's why it's so nice to have me here in this position, is because I am that voice and sort of like that news outlet for our citizens. And so to stay informed and stay in the loop, that's where my job comes in, to get that out to folks.
Well, and as you know, in the past, if you're trying to locate one department head, that could take some time.
Yes, yeah.
So it could take maybe a couple days.
Yeah, right. And so that's why I'm happy to be that connection with our friends in the media.
Right.
They can get a hold of me, and then I'm that point person that can get the attention of the department head and say, hey, so-and-so would like to grab you for an interview. Do you have some time on your schedule today? And really encourage them, because that is such an important relationship to have with the media, is that transparency, openness, good working relationship, to where they feel comfortable even just texting me and saying, hey, I have this story, can you help me out? And then I'm on it.
Are you on call 24 hours a day?
I am, yes. So
I thought so.
Yeah, so it is very much.
I've seen some pretty late night text messages from you.
Yeah. Does Victoria ever sleep? I do sleep. And so if something happens where my assistance is needed, let's take, for example, the incident with the deck collapse out in Briarwood a few months ago. That was, I think, on a Saturday night. And I started finding out what was happening, and I zoomed out that way and was able to help fire departments and connect them with the media and share out what all was going on.
Right, right. So there goes your Saturday night.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's okay. Something my city administrator told me when I first started this job is your role and your job working for the city of Billings and for the people of Billings that's bigger than yourself. And this will be one of the biggest things you ever do. So being that public servant, it's so satisfying and fulfilling, and it's nice to feel needed and wanted in this role. So it is really, I've always enjoyed what I've done in the past, but this is a new sort of experience, for me.
Okay, because certainly working in news, there must have been times when you were called out on a Saturday night.
Oh yeah. That news never ends, 24/7. You're working on the holidays, and so it's almost that similarity. So when I went into this role, I said, I have no problem waking up at 2 a.m. or at midnight to get called out to something that's just has been part of my career.
And you work alone, right? You're a one-person operation.
Yeah, so the role of public information officer was completely new to the city, so I am the very first one to take on this role, and basically writing this role as I go. Setting out that communication plan and the overall strategy, and figuring out it as I go. I guess that's kind of been the story of my life.
Wow.
So I'm happy to do it for this too.
So how many departments are in the city?
So we have over a dozen departments and divisions, and I do want to give huge credit to our public works department. They have a projects coordinator who is able to help a lot with that public engagement, social media, and then also the police department has their administrative lieutenant who does their PIO work. So that those are a couple more things that's less work for me, and they do a great job at it too. The library has wonderful social media, public engagement interaction there. So they're on top of their game over there. And so having that sort of communications team within the city is a huge help to me.
Right. Why do you think it took so long for the city to arrive at a public information officer?
Oh gosh, from the stories I hear, it was really COVID that made them realize we need a public information officer here. The role of getting out information sort of fell on everyone, and they then realized it would be so great if we had that one person who's kind of
one voice
shooting it out there, that unified message, and coordinating it all and putting it all together. So,
well, I know many years ago it was talked about, and then never, nothing ever came of it. But here you are.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful. My life's just been a journey of opportunities coming up as I go and taking those on. And I think it's a role where now that they have me, they really do see the value in what I do. And so other cities without it, making it by without it, it's something to look at and consider and learn what do you get out of a PIO, the value of a PIO.
Well, back in November there was quite a bit of gun violence in Billings, so you were undoubtedly very busy, but you had mentioned prior to the interview that you kind of helped orchestrate one of the main press conferences for a specific reason.
Yeah, we felt it was time to get involved. Like you said, unfortunate incidents, always, anytime there's gun violence, but when it happened a couple days in a row, and when a child's life was taken, it's just shocking. And so originally the format was, PD sends out a press release, puts out a post to the public, here's the incident and this is what happened. But I approached our city administrator and our mayor, and I said, we have to say something. I'm part of this community too, so things do personally impact me, but there was just something that we knew it was time to start changing and evolving our way we're addressing this to the city. So I did get involved in that press conference that included Chief St. John, the county attorney, and our mayor and our city administrator. So we are now looking other ways to get the community more involved, because we want to get back to that communication, that community conversation. Their voices are just as important. So we're wanting to listen and learn and, plant that seed in everyone's heads, we have to solve this together as a group. It's not just one department's job anymore. We're a big enough community now. We all have to learn how we can contribute to getting to solve that problem.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And as you know, recently interviewed Sheriff Mike Linder, and I think there is a real spirit of cooperation.
Oh, yeah.
City and county, and that's vital.
Yes, very vital.
Everybody's future. And you may not have much to do with this, but I was going to ask you about the park and rec bond that went down, unfortunately. Do you anticipate that there will be another attempt to bring that forward, or in pieces maybe?
You know, that remains to be seen, and the leadership team for the city recently did a retreat where that was a topic of discussion. Well, what's next for the parks? What are we going to do now? And it's always been our way to make the best out of what we have. And so that's a conversation that's going to start happening, is like, okay, we have these services, these demands for spaces, and how are we going to answer that call? So still in the air. We'll have to see what becomes of that conversation, but I do know there's other community organizations that also have needs, and so we're trying to figure out our role in supporting those needs as well. Like, there's a big conversation about the jails, and then of course we have our school district, so we're one big happy family, and so we're trying to figure out how to accommodate one another and how to help each other and get to where we all need
That's
to
nice,
be.
though, that a big conversation like that is happening. Nobody's protecting their own turf, so to speak. That's good.
Right, yeah.
Well, part of that bond issue was maintenance or deferred maintenance, wasn't it?
I want to say it was mostly all projects, and so we were updating the current parks, giving those upgrades, establishing some other parks where there's just land, building all new infrastructure, and so the people were worried, like, well, what's going to happen to our parks now? And fortunately, the funding for the park maintenance does come out of the general fund. So what we have now, we will continue to have. So we won't have to risk anything there.
Okay, because I thought that the South Park pool had some maintenance issues that needed to be
Oh gosh,
repaired.
that would have been a huge part of it. It would have had an all new pool, all new community center. So how do we still get that? We have to figure that out next, because we want it. You know, the community wants it. The community deserves.
Well, I'm really
like
glad
that.
to hear, though, that the school district and the city and the county are all sharing the same conversation.
Yeah, we're different entities, different organizations, but we all really do need to cooperate and get along and work together and come up with solutions of what we want to deliver to our community and how we get that to
Right,
them.
because it's just continuing to grow. The community just continues to grow.
Yes.
With lots of new folks coming in, impacting everybody.
Oh, right.
City, county, and school districts. Okay. Yeah. Do you anticipate growing your department?
I would love that. I would love to have an actual department.
City Council, are you listening? She needs some friends.
Well, it was a lot of work to get me here, so I understand that. But there are other cities with entire communications teams who have someone just doing the videos and someone just doing the social media posts.
Well, corporations,
right,
smaller than the city of Billings, have complete communication teams.
Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, that would be a huge help, just to have that extra set of eyes, someone else to say, hey, what if we try this? And I am only one person at the end of the day, but I'm always trying my absolute best. But
well, you seem to be pretty spot on with everything you get out. It's very timely.
I appreciate it.
I'm on your list, so I know.
Yeah, you're
I
one
get
of the
all your
insiders.
stuff.
Yeah. And I want to say, I mean, anyone watching can be an insider too, if you'd like. One of the issues I've had to tackle was, how do we communicate this message out so the entire city receives it? There are so many methods of communication nowadays. It's not just picking up the newspaper and saying, oh, this is what's happening. You have your TV, your radio, and then Community 7. Thank you very much.
Sure,
You've been
you
a great
bet.
partner. Yes. But then the social media game.
Yeah.
That's huge too, because there are people who are not watching the news, who are not tuning into that to get their updates, and they're only on social media.
Right.
And then some people are only on Facebook, but they're not on X or Twitter, and or they're only on Nextdoor. So having to hit all those platforms, it is time consuming, but it's part of what we have to do. Is it's almost like you want to go shout things off the rims, say,
Right.
hey, everybody,
Right.
this is what's happening in our city.
Well, that brings up another point, and this
Yeah.
is probably not a lot to do with your position, but as a journalist, what's your take on all the misinformation on social media?
Right, yeah.
On, I mean, almost every platform.
Yeah. So from a young age, my parents really expressed to me how important it is to be informed. And we were always watching the news. And I think that's probably, I joke that they brainwashed me into wanting to become a reporter because we were always watching the news. So as responsible citizens, we need to stay informed, and we need to get the truth, find the accurate facts, and use that to make decisions rather than what I see a lot of on social media. I shouldn't say a lot, maybe half and half. People will make assumptions, put it out there. It's thoughtless. They're not putting much thought into how much their words can impact others' beliefs. Because people will scroll through, see the comments, and run with it. But it's like, oh, that is not true. That's not true at all. And so part of my role is looking for that misinformation and addressing that and saying, these are the facts, this is what I can tell you. If I don't know it, I'll find out.
You do need more people on your team if you have to do that.
Yes, yeah, it is.
You need an army.
Yeah. And sometimes I look at some of the comments and the dialogue on social media, and I'm like, oh, do I want to open this can of worms and go down that rabbit hole of this conversation is going to be a commitment. But it's something I have to look out for also.
Sure. Well, you have to protect the integrity of the city and its departments and its mission.
Oh yeah, that's another part of my job. When people ask me, oh well, what does a public information officer do? I'm like, okay, it's hard to get it out in one sentence because you're sharing the information, you're looking for the misinformation, correcting that.
Well, and as you said though, you're kind of building this as you go.
Right.
There's no template for you. Yeah. Have you visited with other PIOs?
I have, yes. And I am part of an incredible network called 3CMA, and we're a bunch of government communicators and bouncing ideas off of each other. And so I'm super grateful for that. It's across the U.S., so we have people all over the place. I'm grateful for that. We also have our PIO local group that's part of the local emergency planning committee. So we meet quarterly and we go over things. Places like the hospital are included, and some of the local utilities, those communicators also. So I have that support too, the people who get me, who get what I'm doing.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah. And it's nice to have sort of that national outreach as well, because a lot of ideas may percolate up from there. Yeah, and
as far as ideas go, we were talking just before this on how we can have more of a forum and a community conversation on everything that's happening in Billings right now, and partnering with Community 7 to broadcast that. And I think that's a great idea and something that we definitely have to do. So we'll be tackling that.
Watch
soon.
For it here on Community 7.
Yeah.
No, my feeling was that people are stunned by the activity in November, the gun activity, the violence. It's stunning, really.
Yes,
and I was born here. I was raised here. This is not Billings.
Right.
And I think it'd be helpful if people had an opportunity to express their feelings and what do we do about this? Because, as you said, everybody's in it together.
Right, we are, and it'll be helpful to hear what's on the minds of people. I mean, we get the general idea, but it's always feels good to be heard, and then also understanding how solutions don't come up overnight, and that's the hardest part, and that's what we all want. That's what we all wish could happen, but that's not the reality of it. So letting them voice that concern or that idea, and helping to realize there's more of a process. There's more involved than just A, B, or C.
Right.
There's steps that we have to take to get there. And that's something I didn't realize before getting into government.
Oh.
That's always one of the ongoing jokes is, oh, government, it's going to take forever.
Right.
But it's for a reason.
Yeah.
It's not that people are sitting behind their desks not wanting to work or
No.
playing solitaire on their computer or anything like that at all. We have an incredible group of leadership on our team. The department heads are so passionate and committed with what they do, and so they are doing everything they can. We had to, at that leadership retreat I talked about earlier, we all had to talk about what keeps us up at night. Everyone has something that keeps them up at night,
right.
And it's because they want to deliver and they want to do the best they possibly can for the city.
Now, how is staffing throughout the city? Are you looking, are some departments shy workers?
I want to say that we are in a place now where we are getting caught up. I know for a while that was, there was a rough patch. Everyone was having a hard time. Where are the employees?
Oh, I know.
At?
Everyone did.
Yeah. But a big thing that comes up every summer, Parks and Rec, we need our summer team for all the camps and the lifeguards. And so that's always an opportunity to get involved there with city government. If someone's even looking for a part-time job, I know we have some teachers who in the summertime transition over to a camp counselor because
nice.
Yeah, because that's just the perfect timing for their schedule.
Oh yeah. And you're outside most of the time. And be a great gig. Before we wrap this up though, I also wanted to ask you about the new city hall.
Oh yeah.
So the old city hall, what's the process here?
This feels like something that's that never-ending hallway in your nightmares where you're just trying to get to the finish line. But I did recently receive an update, and it looks like we are on track to get construction to wrap up. If everything continues to go smoothly, sometime in the summer. And so
24, summer of 24?
Summer of 24. So we are so close. And the construction team in there, they're just knocking things out left and right. And
now, is it the Stillwater building or the Miller?
Well, it is the Stillwater, but we are going to have to come up with a new name. So we wanted to give it a whole new identity.
How about City Hall?
City Hall, right? The new
I don't know.
Yeah,
just off the top of my head.
Yeah, plain and simple. Yeah, the new City Hall. Yeah, and then you wonder how long until the new has to be taken away out of the City Hall.
The used to be new City Hall. Yeah. What's happening with the old building?
They are looking for someone interested in buying that property. It is up for sale, and so they have been taking those proposals and going through them. And
there's a parking garage, right, that goes with the building?
It could, yes, it possibly could. So
okay.
that if they want it as a package deal, they would be able to purchase that and invest in that also.
Right. So you'll get a new office.
Yeah, it's more of an open floor plan for the employees, so it is going to be a little different.
Wow.
But yeah. So that's a huge upgrade for us, believe it or not, because we are so crammed at City Hall.
Yeah.
Especially the attorney's office when you walk in there, and everyone kind of has their little nooks and crannies of trying to get their work done. But it'll be nice everyone to actually have their own space now. So a little bit different of a layout, but I'm excited to have. I'll be on the 5th floor if you're ever looking for me.
Fifth floor of the old Stillwater building. Did we miss anything? We're just about out of time.
City website is pulled up behind us here. If you're ever looking for information, you can certainly visit that. We have the Magic City Spotlight when you scroll down to the bottom of the page, and that's sort of where I have the press releases that we send out. And
oh, good.
Yeah, right across there. Yeah, those are like my news website for the city. So folks are encouraged, billingsmt.gov, and we can keep you updated and posted there.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate it.
You're knocking it out of the park.
Oh, thanks. I try. It keeps me up at night.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure
Yeah,
it does. Well,
thank you
thanks
so
again.
much. Yeah.
And thank you for joining us on Your City. We will see you next time.